Please join me in the pledge to the Bible. I pledge allegiance to the Bible, God's holy word. I will make it a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. I will hide its words in my heart that I might not sin against God. Join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We've been working through our catechism questions. We're tackling a big, important concept of sin. We have talked about how the covenant with God is set up with Adam is that he was to obey God perfectly. We found out that he didn't do that. He sinned against God. And then the big question is, what is sin? And just a reminder, it's any lack of conformity to or transgression of the law of God. So let's try that. What is sin? Sin is lack of or So there's two parts to that definition. What is meant by lack of conformity, and the answer is not being or doing what God requires. So let's try that. What is meant by lack of conformity? Not being. The second part of the definition is what is meant by transgression, and the answer is doing what God forbids. Let's try that. What is meant by transgression? So this is an important concept to understand. There's two parts to sin. First part is lack of conformity to. In our thoughts, words, and actions, we are to conform to the image of God. God is our creator, and he expects us to conform to his image. He has outlined his character and how we are to live out in thought, word, and deed in the Ten Commandments as a summary of how we're to live for him. And the summary of the Ten Commandments is to love God and love your neighbor. That is our standard. That is what he expects us to do every second of every day of our entire life. What we find out is we can't do that. Every second of every minute of every day of our life, we fall short of that. So that's the first whammy against us. The second whammy is when we transgress against that law, when we know what's right, we know what's good, we know we should obey, and we don't. When we willfully rebel against God. I know I shouldn't disobey my parents, but I do it anyway. I know I should love my neighbor, but I'm going to push them down anyway. I know I'm supposed to be obedient, and I choose not to. That's the double whammy. So our guilt increases because not only can we not conform to the image of God, thought, word, and deed, we choose not to do that. And we'll learn more about what we can do about that. This is a hopeless and helpless state that we're in. The next question then is, what does every sin deserve? And the answer is the wrath and curse of God. So just by doing something wrong, and we're like, oh, well, my bad. No, there's something seriously deficient in that. When we do that, there's a consequence to that. And the consequence is the wrath and curse of God himself. So these are serious things. We kind of think that, well, it's like a white lie. It's a small thing. It's not a big deal. But every sin is deserving the wrath and curse of God. And we'll find out more about what we can do about that and why we need a Savior. We're also talking about love. So we talked about how God's law is summarized by loving God and loving our neighbor. So Mrs. Floyd's started this week by talking about love, what that meant. My question to you is, how can we show our love to others? How can we show our love to others? So we're commanded to love our neighbors. What are some ways that we can show our love to our classmates and to people here at school and our teachers? Ollie, what's one way we can show our love to people here at school? Yeah. Showing compassion for someone, that if somebody's hurt or hurting or feeling down, you can ask, are you okay? What can I do to help? That's a wonderful way to show love. Pierce, what's another way we can show love? Right. Right, that's great. Yeah, thinking of others above yourself. What are some other ways we can show love? Madeline, what's another way we can show love? Yeah. If someone's lonely or needs help or needs a friend, you can be that person. These are all wonderful ideas. A couple more that I'd like to maybe think that I'd like to present to you that maybe don't come to the top of the list but are really important is, the first one is showing love is by forgiving one another. Forgiveness is a commandment we're asked to do. When someone does something to me or hurts my feelings or does something that wrongs me, it's easy to want to take revenge on them, which means to get back at them. And this actually happened in the Lockyer household recently. I have 2 sons, and the older son did something to the younger son, and the younger son retaliated, and we were talking to them. And when I asked them what happened, the first thing that came out of both of their mouths is, but he did it first. But he did it first. Right? Revenge is that attitude. I am justified. I can do whatever I want because this person did something to me, and now I am entitled to do whatever I want back to them. That's not love. Love is always sacrificing. Love is always giving up my will, my wants to submit to God. So when someone does something to me, I should be quick to forgive them and not want to get back at them. The second one, which I think Ollie mentioned, is about asking for compassion for people that maybe I'm not friends with right away. There's people in your class that maybe you get along with really well and you're good friends with, and you play with all the time, and that's great. You like to sit with at lunch. But there's maybe some people in your class that maybe you have a hard time getting along with or don't know very well. Asking God for compassion, for ways for you to reach out and play with them at recess, sit with them at lunch, talk to them, people that maybe you're not as comfortable with or don't know very well. This is a heart of compassion and love for all of your classmates and not just the ones that you get along with really well. Another way is to demonstrate love in action, and Pierce did a good job of giving examples. There's ways that we can show our love to one another in big and small ways, looking for ways to serve one another. And the last one is to encourage one another with words. Proverbs talks about our words give life or death. They can encourage people or they tear people down. Using our words in loving ways is to build people up and encourage them, and being thoughtful of what I say. Sometimes I want to say things, but showing self-control and watching my tongue, watching the words I say, but instead letting words come out of my mouth that bring life and show love. We can't do any of this in our own strength, so the hymn this month is a reminder that we rely on the faithfulness of God, so let's sing. One of our school rules is a good reminder, a great place to start when we talk about love. It's honor others. Good. The Lord be with you.